Direct to streaming or not, I'm always happy to get more Hellboy. Hi everybody, Anthony here from Awesome Man Theme Productions, and today I'm going to give you my review of Hellboy, the Crooked Man. But before we get started, you know exactly what to do. At the end of the review, if you think I've earned it, please leave a like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you never miss any of my new reviews. Now let's get into it. Yes, Hellboy is back. This time played by Jack Casey. And this is not an origin story. Thank God. So, let's talk plot. Hellboy and rookie BPRD agent Bobby Joe Song, played by Adeline Rudolph, are transporting some mysterious cargo through the Appalachian wilderness. Obviously, things go wrong, they're trained that they're on derails, and they end up stranded in the middle of nowhere. While trying to figure out their next move, they stumble upon a group of locals, including Jefferson White's Tom Farrell and Hannah Marginson's Cora Fisher. It's then that they learn about a creepy coven of witches led by the sadistic Effie Cole, played by Leah McNamara, who all serve a soul-stealing villain named the Crooked Man, played by Martin Bassendale. So Hellboy, Bobby Joe, and Tom set out to stop the Crooked Man once and for all, facing all sorts of horrific shit on the way. Now, here's what I liked. First off, it's not an origin story. I know I said that already, but it is such a breath of fresh air. There's no need to show us where he comes from, give us his relationship with Professor Broom again, or spend half the movie telling you what you already know if you've seen the Hellboy movie before. We just get dropped right into one of his missions. No end-of-the-world drama here either, just him dealing with witches, curses, and creepy Appalachian folklore. The creator himself, Mike Mignola, said that this is the most comic-accurate Hellboy that's ever been on the screen, and as someone that has read all the Hellboy comics, I have to agree. They really leaned into folk horror this time, which really gives this a grounded, gritty vibe. It's not just about action or franchise building like the previous films, instead being more focused on the creepy atmosphere, which I dug. Now, Jack Casey as Hellboy. I'll say this, he's no Ron Perlman, who has easily been the best Hellboy by a mile, and even David Harbour gave it his best shot through those prosthetics. But Casey, he's solid, and much more comic accurate, like I've already said. He plays Hellboy as this quiet, stoic, badass detective who skulks around and isn't really afraid of anything. He's also not dropping one-liners every 5 seconds, but when he does drop one, since they're so far and few in between, it actually works.
Come on, Snake, let's rattle.
Now, the supporting cast, pretty strong too. Adeline Rudolph as Bobby Joe doesn't have quite that much range, but she plays off of Hellboy as his sidekick of sorts very well. And is basically the audience surrogate, so we get to learn all about the Crooked Man, Effie Kolb, and all the backwoods lore as she does. Jefferson White's Tom Farrell is fine and serves his purpose in the story, but he doesn't really have any standout moments or anything. Martin Bassendale as the Crooked Man is actually pretty creepy, even if he looks a little cheap at times and has a bit of a goofy voice. But Leah McNamara as Effie Kolb, let's just say she's a little over the top. Actually, she's very over the top. Honestly, she took me out of the movie in a lot of scenes, being laughable at times when she was clearly meant to be terrifying. Okay, now let's address the elephant in the room and talk about the low budget, because yes, it is noticeable. With less than $20 million to play with, this film definitely doesn't have the look that the other Hellboy movies do. It's got kind of a low budget, almost B-movie feel, but I actually think that works to the movie's benefit in a lot of scenes. But that being said, it's impossible not to notice whenever CGI is used. And the Crooked Man himself? He's creepy, sure, and the movie does everything they can to stick to that, but there are moments where he legit just looks like a dude in a rubber mask. Though I did think Hellboy's design was pretty solid, even if they skipped out on the yellow eyes and the hooves. His right hand of doom is good too, even if he didn't use it as much as I would have liked. As for the horror, that's another mixed bag. It can get a little cliche here and there. You got rapid cut montages of creepy images, stock sound effects, that sort of thing. But outside of those few moments, a lot of it does really work. There's not a whole lot of jump scares, and the atmosphere is definitely creepy, playing up the folk horror of the original comic this was based on. And Hellboy fits right into the point where the movie's never too drab or serious. It's also grounded enough to feel gritty without losing its comic book charm. Now, Brian Taylor directed this, the same guy behind the Crank movies, so you know the action's gonna be decent. And it definitely is, with kinetic camera work and strong cinematography. The R rating is used surprisingly well here too. Unlike the 2019 Hellboy, which went crazy with F-bombs and CGI blood and gore all over the place, this one feels much more restrained. They don't go full-on gore fest, but there are still some pretty gnarly moments, like a body reinflating or chaos involving a creepy demonic giant snake. And they did their best to use the limited budget wisely. If you're a hardcore Hellboy fan and you're especially familiar with the comics, I think you're going to enjoy this one. It's very faithful to the source material, and Casey is a strong Hellboy. If you can look past the cheap CGI and some cringy horror gimmicks, there's a lot to enjoy here. Bottom line, this is a quick, breezy, creepy ride. It's not a blockbuster by any means. It's just a self-contained story that thankfully doesn't bog itself down with origin story crap or the need to try to set up a larger franchise. It's just Hellboy doing what he does best. investigating supernatural horror, and kicking a ton of ass. And even with its flaws, I had a very good time with it. And that's my review of Hellboy, the Crooked Man. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this review, you know exactly what to do. I said it earlier. Please leave a like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you never miss any of my new reviews. While you're at it, you can scroll down in the description below, find the links to my socials, leave a comment, let me know if you saw this and what you thought. And if you want more of my content, you can click or tap on these cards right here. I'll take you to my review of Joker, Folie à Deux, or just over to my channel where you can check out the rest of my reviews and my shorts. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I will see you next time for my review of Terrifier 3.